Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something right now. If they twist your words, if they take what you said and flip it, shake it, remix it like it's some kind of TikTok sound, don't lose your cool. Don't start arguing. Don't chase down everybody trying to correct them. Just look them dead in the eye and say, that's not what I said. You're not responsible for how people twist your truth. Let me tell you something about people. Some folks wake up in the morning with a full-time job, twisting what other people say. They ain't interested in truth. They interested in drama. You can say something clear as day, crystal clear, and they'll still take it, put it in their little blender of bitterness, add a dash of insecurity, and serve it back like it's what you meant. Now, here's what you got to understand. That's not your job to fix. See, we live in a world where people hear what they want, not what you said. And if they got a problem with you, if they already don't like you, if they already feel some type of way about you, then everything you say is going to be heard through that filter. You say, I'm doing all right, and they'll say, oh, she thinks she's better than everybody. You say, I'm tired, and they'll say, he don't care about nobody else's problem. You say, I just want peace, and now they got you painted as the villain. But here's what I need you to know. You are not responsible for other people's twisted version of your truth. You are not a translator for their brokenness. You are not the editor for their storyline. Your job is to speak your truth, live your life, and let them deal with the fiction they created. Because some people don't want understanding, they want ammunition. They want to twist your words so they can use them against you. It makes them feel powerful to shrink you, to flip your peace into offense, your confidence into arrogance, your silence into shame. And the more you try to fix it, the deeper you get pulled into their game. You start re-explaining yourself, rewording everything, walking on eggshells just to keep the peace. But the peace ain't yours to keep if they determine to start war. If they already made up their mind about you, no amount of explaining is going to change it. Because they ain't misunderstanding you, they're misrepresenting you on purpose. Now, don't get me wrong. If someone truly wants to understand you, you'll feel it. You'll know. They'll ask you gently. They'll come to you directly. They'll listen with grace. That's a different kind of person. That's someone worth clarifying for. But the ones that twist and turn your words like a Rubik's Cube, that ain't confusion. That's manipulation. You ever been in a conversation where someone interrupts you halfway through and says, oh, so what you saying is, and then proceed to say something you never said? That right there, that's a red flag. That's when you need to breathe, keep your composure, and say the phrase, that's not what I said, because you are not about to let someone else narrate your life using a script you didn't write. Let them twist, let them turn, let them say whatever makes them feel better. That's their business. You just keep showing up in your truth. You just keep talking with clarity, because the people who know you, really know you, they won't fall for the remix. They heard the original. They know your heart. And for the ones that don't, you don't owe them a TED talk or a press release. All you owe them is that one line that protects your peace and draws the line. That's not what I see. Let them twist if they want. Just don't let it twist you. You stay rooted, you stay real. And remember, you ain't responsible for fixing a lie someone chose to believe. Your truth doesn't need permission to exist. It just needs you to stop apologizing for it. Let me put you on game real quick. Everybody ain't worth a response. Every twisted word don't deserve your breath. Every lie they told about you don't need a war. You know why? Because the moment you start jumping, hollering, defending, typing essays, going back and forth in the group chat, arguing on the phone. Now you look just as loud and messy as the one who started it. But there's a whole different kind of power that shows up when you stay calm, when you don't yell, when you don't break character, when you just smile, breathe, and say, that's not what I said. That's calm confidence. That's grown. That's strength. See, the world got this thing twisted. They think loud means strong. They think the one who talks the most is the one in control. But the loudest person in the room is usually the one who's most unsure. Let me tell you, real power walks in quiet. Real power walks in slow. Real power don't need to prove anything. When you know what you meant, when you know your intention, and most importantly, when you know your heart, you don't need to put on a show for nobody. They can twist your words, but they can't touch your truth. You ain't got to argue with fools to prove you're wise. Now, I know it's hard when they lie on you, when they take something you said and stretch it into something ugly. Your first instinct is to correct it, to jump up and say, that ain't what I meant. You want to clear the air, fix the story, make sure people don't think the wrong thing. But listen to me. Every fight they invite you to ain't worth attending. Some battles are traps. Some conversations are just bait. They want you to act out so they can say, see, I told y'all. They want you to go off so they can say, look how crazy she is. Look how angry he gets. They twist your words, then sit back and wait to twist your reaction too. Don't give them the satisfaction. There's a kind of peace that can't be disturbed, a peace that don't flinch when lies come, a peace that don't move just because somebody misunderstood you on purpose. That's the kind of peace that comes from knowing who you are. You don't owe chaos to chaos. You don't need to meet crazy with crazy. You don't need to match their volume. Let them shout. Let them point fingers. Let them screenshot and gossip. You just breathe, smile if you want, shake your head, and say that phrase with all the confidence in the world. That's not what I said. Let me tell you what happens when you do that. You shift the power. You flip the energy. You take control of the room without raising your voice. Because now they can't feed off your reaction. Now they look foolish yelling while you're calm. Now they running out of fuel because you won't play their game. Calm confidence is like a mirror. It shows people who they really are. It reflects the chaos back on them. And most times it makes them uncomfortable because what they wanted was your anger. What they got was your poise. You ever see someone argue with a brick wall? That's how you need to be. Not cold, not dismissive, just unbothered. Like, baby, I don't know what story you telling, but it ain't mine. You ain't about to argue with nobody who can't even repeat what you said right. You ain't about to entertain folks who listen just enough to twist your message. That's not strength. That's a waste of your spirit. So next time someone tries to get under your skin, twist your words, or stir up mess, don't raise your voice. Don't change your tone. Don't step out of character. Step into confidence. Stand in your truth and let the phrase do the work. That's not what I said. Say it calm, say it clear, and walk away. That's how grown folks move. Now listen here. If there's one phrase you need to put in your back pocket, carry with you like your lucky charm, it's this: that's not what I said. Simple, clear, and powerful. When people twist your words, that phrase is your secret weapon. It cuts through all the noise, all the confusion, and puts the spotlight back on the truth, your truth. Because let's be honest, words get twisted every day. Folks like to spin stories to remix what you said to fit their agenda. But when you pull out that phrase, you're telling them loud and clear, you don't stand for the remix. You stand for the original. I want you to think about it for a second. How many times have you seen somebody caught up in drama because they tried to explain everything? They typed paragraphs, sent voice notes, posted on every social media platform, trying to clear their name, trying to fix what got broken. And what happened? The more they explained, the messier it got, the story got longer, the gossip got louder. But if they had just said, that's not what I said, with confidence and calm, they could have saved themselves all that headache. This phrase is powerful because it does three things at once. First, it stops the lie right in its tracks. When you say, that's not what I said, you interrupt the false narrative. You don't let it grow. You don't let it become the accepted story. You push back. Gently but firmly. Second, it demands respect. You're not begging for understanding. You're not pleading to be heard. You're standing in your truth and expecting people to hear it as it is. And third, it protects your peace. Because when you say that phrase, you're setting a boundary. You're saying, I'm not going to let you twist me into something I'm not. And boundaries are powerful. They keep your spirit safe. Now, I know some people might think that saying, that's not what I said, is too mild. They want to respond with fire, with a comeback, with a clapback. But listen, there's strength in restraint. There's strength in keeping your cool. When you use that phrase, you're not just correcting a misunderstanding, you're showing that you're in control of your narrative. You're the author of your story, and you're not letting anybody else write chapters for you. The beauty of this phrase is that it works everywhere. At work, with friends, on social media, even in family gatherings. No matter who's twisting your words, you can pull it out and say it with the same power. And you don't have to explain further unless you want to. It's enough. It's a line in the sand that says, I'm not here for the drama. I'm here for the truth. Here's a little secret for you. The people who twist your words, they rely on confusion and noise. They want you to over-explain so they can pick apart what you said. They want to drag you into long, exhausting arguments. But when you say, that's not what I said, and leave it at that, you take the wind out of their sails. You don't give them any more to work with. You don't feed the fire, you starve it. Remember, words are powerful, but how you respond to those words when they get twisted, that's what shows your character. When you respond with, that's not what I said, you're showing maturity, clarity, and confidence. You're showing that you respect yourself enough to protect your truth, but not so desperate that you have to prove it over and over again. So next time you feel like you're caught up in someone's twisted version of your words, don't panic. Don't start chasing them down with explanations. Just stand your ground and say, that's not what I said. Say it with your head held high, with calm in your voice, and watch how it changes the conversation. It's not just a phrase, it's a shield. It's a line of defense that keeps your truth safe and your peace intact. Use it wisely, use it often, and remember, it's your power phrase. Because at the end of the day, no matter how loud the noise gets, your truth don't need to shout. It just needs to be clear. Let me break this down for you right now. When people twist your words, It ain't about what you said. It ain't about your truth or your intentions. Nah, it's about what they want the story to be. You see, folks don't always listen to understand. They listen to confirm what they already believe. They listen to find what fits their own story, their own agenda, their own feelings about you or the situation. And when they don't hear what they want, they just change it. They take your words, chop them up, rearrange them like a puzzle, and make a whole new picture, one that fits them better. This is the truth you got to get deep in your heart. When somebody twists your words, they're not trying to get closer to your truth. They're trying to fit you into the story they've already written. They've got a narrative in their head about who you are, what you're about, what you're capable of. And if your actual words don't fit that story, they just make a new story. It's like they got a filter on your voice. And everything that comes out gets bent and broken to match their version of reality. Now, don't get it twisted. This ain't just about strangers or haters. Sometimes it's the people closest to you who do this. Family members, friends, co-workers. They hear what you say, but they hear it through their own lens. Their past experiences, their fears, their insecurities, all shape how they interpret you. And when your words don't line up with their expectations, guess what? They twist them to make it fit. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. They're just filling in the blanks with what they want or what they fear. But here's the kicker. No matter how much they try to rewrite your story, you still know what you said. You still know what you meant. You still have the power to say, that's not what I said. And that's the moment you remind yourself that you don't have to accept their version of your truth. You don't have to live in their narrative. You don't have to let their story define you. The problem is when we start believing their twisted versions, that's when confusion sets in. We start doubting ourselves. We start thinking maybe we did say it wrong. Maybe we did mean something else. But listen close. When your own words get hijacked, you have to hold on to your truth tighter than ever. Because if you let their story overwrite your truth, you lose yourself in the process. One thing you got to remember is that people's narratives usually say more about them than they do about you. When someone twists your words to paint you as angry or selfish or ungrateful or any kind of negative, they're revealing their own fears, their own judgments, their own baggage. Their story isn't about exposing you. It's about expressing their own discomfort with you or the situation. So when you catch someone twisting your words, don't take it personally. Take it as a reflection of their own struggles. And that understanding makes it easier not to get caught up in their drama. But don't get it confused with ignoring the truth. If someone genuinely misunderstood you, if someone misheard you, that's a different situation. You want to be clear. You want to be understood. But when someone is twisting your words to serve their narrative, that's intentional. That's a choice. And that's when you got to pull out your power phrase and say, that's not what I said. You see, the trick is to hold on to your own story with confidence. Know what you said. Know what you meant, and don't let anybody write a different ending. It's like being the author of a book. You wrote that story. You know every chapter, you know the characters, you know the meaning behind every word, and nobody else can come in and rewrite your book without your permission. So next time you catch someone twisting your words, remember, they ain't trying to understand you. They're trying to fit you into their own story, and you don't have to